So the structure overview, timings, beginning, middle, and end. So I'm actually going to share with you exactly the structure I used and the timings to really help you see all the different details, because this is so important for us. As we know, the therapist is the container and holds the structure of the group. So in my sessions at 2:15, I logged onto the platform, I checked signups, I made my list, my tracking list, and I checked my emails to see if there were any cancellations, any people that weren't going to make it, and really kind of prepared myself. At 2:30, I welcome people. I begin the session by saying what the project is, and then check with names, where people are, and a metaphor. So we've talked about that before, the metals of animals, habitats, landscapes, plants, musical instruments, tools, or even objects in the house. I usually ask, if you were going to be a fill in the blank, what would you be and why? So if you were going to be an animal today, what would you be and why? So after that, and we've gone around and I've asked people to pass to another person, I then ask at about 2:40, 2:45, I describe the project, welcoming the making of spontaneous art. I then ask for any questions. And then I tell them that I will be there during the art making session and that they can unmute to ask questions or send me a message in the chat if they're not sure of anything. Then usually between 2:45 and 3:25, I would do a session of art making. And during that time, I encourage you to be present and available. You might also at that point check emails to make sure you don't have anyone having difficulties, and then give a 10 and 5-minute warning to finish the process. So I'll just say something like, so just to let you know, we have 10 minutes left of art making time. And then the next time I will say, so we're coming to the end of art making. We have 5 minutes remaining. So finding a way to pause. If you haven't finished yet, remembering that you can continue after the session or coming to a close. And I'll see everybody back together in 5 minutes. So you want to keep a calm tone. You want to express very clearly and finding a way to contain. So at 3:25 to 3:50, each person is invited to share. So yes, everyone is invited to share, and make sure that the screen says multiple participants can share simultaneously, as some people will want to share a photo of their art that they take. Invite participants to move into the speaker view so they can see the art. At that point, what I usually do is to jot down keywords as they're talking. And I ask, how was your process? What do you see? I want to keep it concrete. I don't go into processing the art. It's much more about validation for me. So then at 3:50, I read out the weaving of words or ideas that have been created this afternoon. And I introduce it in that way. And I say, now I'm going to share the community's weaving of words. And then I read the list in a very slow way that really helps it land in people and feel this sense of cohesion and togetherness that they as a community have created this poem. Then at 3:55, I ask for a single closing word. I ask them to pass it to someone. And then I also have my list, so I'm marking off who hasn't spoken. I repeat them back and read it out at the end. I thank everyone for attending and say, I hope you'll be able to join us next week. And I'm going to be going much more into the beginning, middle, and end in our live session. So now I just want to go over precautions and challenges. So a lot of the time in the open studio environment, big emotions come up in a small time frame. So you need to work out how to hold these. And I'm going to be going over this in our live session. We're also going to have the disinhibition effect, like we've talked about before. People feel very comfortable at home and they may express more than they meant to. Well, they're also going to be thinking about boundaries and how to hold that and create a container. So regular members of your group may start to build up a greater level of trust and depth. This may encourage them to share on a deeper level, and you might need to help them to contain more, or you might need to refer them to a close group. You can work directly with your supervisor to work out the best path forward. So working with big emotions in a small time frame, because usually I give people 5 minutes to share, which really doesn't seem like very much, but it can actually be very meaningful and impactful in somebody's life. So do validate emotions, feelings, and experiences and offer further support. Do not unpack or open things. This is a short standalone session. Further support can be offered at the end or outside of the session. So in that place, I've offered it to people and I've said, I'm going to write my email in the group chat. If anybody needs to reach out because they've been affected by today's session and needs more support, please get in contact with me. And so tonight I wanted to leave with some resources, which I'm also going to post in my group. So Arthives are an excellent resource. They have an incredible how-to guide, which I found really profound and useful. There's also a great resource called Leading Groups Online, and they have lots of different trainings and really support you in how to facilitate. There's also guidelines for electronic practices in art therapy by Nicole from the faculty at KT. And you can also re-watch my presentation from Kata. And here are some of the references I've been using in order to create this lecture.